Que lo que, mi gente, what's good, what's poppin'? It's your girl, Amara La Negra, and you're listening to Exactly Amara, a production of iHeartRadio. We're going to talk about something that really touches my heart, which is La Afro Latinidad, which is talking about the Afro-Latino community.
Yes!
A lot of people...
We need to talk about this.
Sí.
Yes.
A lot of people got to know me in the American side.
Right.
Through Love and Hip Hop. And
Absolutely.
in this platform, they heard me talk about, feeling like I didn't fit and feeling like, the Afro-Latino community didn't really have a voice.
Yes.
And a lot of people got to see me on that side and got to see my work as an activist during the protests that happened through George Floyd y todo lo demás. I was the first one out there in the front lines.
Sure was.
Peleando not just por la comunidad negra, but also por los negros latinos like myself.
Yes.
So it really touches home. And I wanted to dedicate this podcast to the people that support me, to the people that feel that don't have a voice, to all the Latinos out there, even if you may not be directly Afro-Latino, but you may have that that cousin, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, that whatever. I feel that overall as Latinos, we are one community.
Right.
And the Afro-Latino community amongst us sometimes doesn't really get represented properly. So there's a lot to talk about this, pero vamos a comenzar.
Well, my question to you is,
yes,
this is perfect because now we're here.
Yes, we're here.
A couple years later
We've
from
been
your
here.
movement and, the movement that you've been advocating.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Do you still feel like you need to explain to people who you are?
Of course, it's crazy enough because I feel that it's 2021 and I am still consistently having to explain to people what being Afro-Latino means. I still have had people that don't believe that you can be Black and also be Latino and speak Spanish. I still hear people, speaking a lot from a place of ignorance. And I just feel like you have social media, you have the internet, you have YouTube, you have all these other platforms where if you don't know, you can just search it up. We've been here. We've been here. It's just that no one really spoke about us like that,
Speaking of people speaking about you.
¿Qué cosa?
Or talking about you, have you ever been to like your local supermarket or wherever now, events, industry events or any, and people are they still talking bad about you like in Spanish?
This happens to me all the time.
Well, could you give us like one? Because I think I find it like amusing that when people get it twisted and you have that moment that you're like, ¿qué tú dijiste?
Right. No, it happens to me all the time. It used to happen more before, but a lot of people already know that I'm Latina. But before, and it still happens, but I'll have people talking about me like, ay, pero mira ese pelo esa muchacha, look at her hair, look at her this, or esa muchacha, whatever. And then I'll just be there just tranquila and I won't say anything until ya que me harto. And I'll be like, con permiso, mi señora, ¿qué fue lo que dijo usted? And they'll be like, oh, but I didn't know you spoke Spanish. Where are you from? Does it matter?
That's what you got. That's what you got.
Exactly. Does it matter? The Latino community is so diverse. We all look in so many different shades, hairstyles, body types, features, everything. So, sí me ha pasado mucho, and I know that it happens to a lot of other Afro-Latinos as well, where they're, they find themselves being questioned of like, where are you from?
It's just weird because...
Or you get the famous, what are you mixed with? Who said that you have to be mixed with any other race or culture or whatever in order to be, Latino?
Like gaslighting, tokenizing.
Sí, eso no
do you
tiene que
get
ver.
the, I like your hair? Like, how do you feel when, like, people tell you that?
Bueno, mira, I think that, first of all, I haven't been rocking my afro for a while now. Ever since the pandemic, I just wanted to change up, and I went through this, life experience where I've changed a lot, right? I've grown. I still rock my afro, and I love the texture of my hair. And I've had those situations where people vienen y te meten la mano, they just stick your hand, their hands in your hair.
No.
Or like, oh my God, your hair is fluffy. What do you do to it? Or they pet me. I'm like, mija, get your hands off my hair immediately.
Right.
I don't think that a lot of people understand how uncomfortable it is. You're not an animal. You're not a pet. It's nothing weird.
Right.
I hate the terminology. And let's talk about this real quick, too. I think that racism has been normalized so much amongst even the Latino community that you don't even know when you're being racist,
Hello, there was a song. Let's talk about el tema que decía, mamá no quiere negro, pero a mí me gusta mi negro. Like, that was an actual song. But that meant, mommy don't want a black Latino,
right.
Afro-Latino, but I want my black, And that song was like,
there's been so much.
that was okay. Like,
there's been so much racial. I don't know what exactly to call it because I just feel that it's been normalized. Como que la gente no se da cuenta when you're being racist. Okay, and just because of that, I want this show to not just be a way for me to vent and express my own experiences, but I also want to be able to educate people. Y para todos los latinos que están escuchando que no saben cuando están siendo racistas, like you don't know when you're being racist, let me give you a perfect example. If you see a black woman or if you see a black man, don't say, ay, pero para ser negrita tú eres muy linda. Ay, for being black, you're very pretty. Excuse me, what the hell does that mean? So you're basically saying que los negros son feos, black people are ugly, but it just so happens to be that I'm that one person who looks decent. Don't say that. Here's another perfect example. Ooh. I grew up my whole life hearing, pero tú eres una negrita muy linda, tú tienes unas facciones muy, muy lindas. No la vayas a cagar casándote con un negro. Like, you have really nice features. Don't mess it up, getting married to a black man. Hay que mejorar la raza.
Oh, those are the worst.
You have to better. They'll be like, you have to better the race. So you're saying that my race is not good, that my race is bad, that my features are not good, my skin color is not good. I have to better it by marrying or being with someone who has more European features so that my children could be light skin. So if you didn't know that saying that makes you racist, let me educate you. You don't say that. And like that, I've gone through so many experiences. Like even now, there's a lot of Afro-Latinos, there's a lot of black people who were bullied, who were made fun of for having, big lips or having certain features, which now have become, trendy and people pay for it. Before it was all about the big boobs and no ass, with all due respect for those girls that are naturally built like that. And then now women are buying their butt because they're looking like us. Ante los labios grandes, que parece una mona, which I've heard that a lot of times. Yo, a mí me han llamado mona. They've called me mona monkey so many times in my life that I didn't even realize that it was a bad thing. It was just more like, there goes another one. And I feel too that I want to clarify that a lot of people will never understand the experiences a black person lives, whether you
and I love how they try to compare.
Whether you come from Europe, whether you come from Africa, whether you come from Latin America, it doesn't matter. If you are born with this color skin, with this melanin that God gave us, you will never understand the experiences that we've been through, the way that people look at us, the way that when you walk in a store, people are always looking at you like you're going to steal something, the way that if you walk by someone, people automatically hold their purse because they're scared you're going to steal from them, the way that people talk about you whenever anybody wants to say something negative, the first thing they say, el negro ese, la negra esa. People don't understand how humiliating it is and how hurtful it is because we didn't choose to be born this way, nor would I have wanted to change because I love being negra. I love my skin color. I love who I am. Yes. But I understood at a very early age that in order to live in this world with my skin tone, I was going to have to work twice as hard. People were always going to look at me, with a certain, they were going to look at me differently just because I'm black. And a lot of people are like, but we're not racist. We don't understand. We don't see it. We have evolved a lot. No, we haven't. No, we have not, especially in the Latino community. I'm sorry to say it, and I'm sorry to pinpoint it, pero ustedes tienen la culpa. Nosotros somos culpables de que we haven't been able to progress. Somos los primeros en humillarnos, en pisotearnos. We're the first ones to humiliate us. We're the first ones that if your daughter brings un negrito to the house, you're like, yo no quiero ese negro en mi casa. I don't want that. Or what are you doing? Let's be honest. We keep saying, between Latinos, we're not. Yeah, I don't like to generalize, but there's a big percentage of people that are, and you won't see it to our faces, but behind closed doors,
you're absolutely right.
People have feelings about us. So that has made it hard for a lot of us to get jobs. It's made it hard for a lot of us to be visibly, for example, if they have to pick between someone who is dark-skinned and someone who is light-skinned, who both have, let's say, who both can do the job, you'll always go for the light skin because black people come off as intimidating or scary or be careful or da-da-da. It's a lot of pressure that people don't know about.
No, it's absolutely right because I went for my first job interview with my best friend. He's Afro Latino, and they hired me right away, and they didn't hire him. So I didn't take the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, there's always like, oh, don't think like that. You know, people always say, oh, don't think like that. Don't think like that. We knew.
Yeah.
You know, like, él no era un tonto. He said, that's crazy. And I said, but that's all right, because they lost. Not one, but two.
But look at this, culturally, si estamos hablando de mi cultura, culturalmente, we know that soap operas are a big thing for the Latino community. Las novelas is something that has been with us for years. We used to watch it with our grandparents. La mamá after work, hay que ver la novela. It's like a moment that you spend with your family. And I remember growing up and watching TV and always wondering, why doesn't anybody look like me? There was only two novelas that I recall. One, it was Chica da Silva. And the only reason why there were black people in la novela, it was because it was about slaves. Era una novela about slaves. Pero they never, at one point, Celia Cruz, which I love her, and we'll talk about her in a second because ella, ídolo for life.
Yes.
She was also in a novela, and she was la chacha, la nana, that even got slapped. And that was a moment in the history for the Latino community that was so damaging and hurtful because the one icon and idol that we have, that we admire, she is ours. Right. The one opportunity that they give us to be on TV, and she's there, Celia Cruz. La ponen de nana, de sirvienta, de chacha, y viene y la actriz principal le da una galleta a la chacha. It was so humiliating. And till this day, how many novelas or soap operas or things that we see on big screen para la comunidad latina do you see people like us? You don't, unless we are the robbers, the rapers, the drug addict, todo lo que es negativo. Why? And it's that stigma, that prototype, that esa formación that unconsciously makes people be afraid of us. In real life, you see so much negativity about us and little positive stuff that people start to believe it. You know how many great attorneys, doctors, producers, great talented Afro-Latinos there is that don't get credit for their work? That is a very tough thing. And I think that we need to talk about it. Like, let's stop trying to hide it and let's really talk about it. These conversations need to happen.
So you did create that awareness on the Love and Hip Hop platform.
Correct.
Since then,
yes.
Have they offered you any roles? Or is it still the same situation?
Well,
is it getting better?
I did a movie with Chris Stokes. Shout outs to him. I love him so much for supporting me. Fall Girls is actually on Netflix. And I was grateful to the fact that he allowed me to speak some Spanish. But honestly, whenever I do get offered roles, for the most part, none of them are representing the Afro-Latino community. It's never being Dominican, Latina, Panamanian, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Colombiana, Hondureña. It's never being Latina. And then that continues to bother me. I'm grateful for the opportunities given, but I would like for all these directors, producers, A&Rs, executive, whatever. Let me point the finger at you two. All of you hypocrites that say that you want to support the Latino community, that you want to support the Afro-Latino community, that you want to see more diversity, that you feel that you are holding our hands and you're supporting us. You're a hypocrite because you have the platform and you have the possibilities to make a difference. You have the possibilities to change the narrative and you don't. You continue to get the same actors, the same roles, la misma mierda. Nothing has changed. When George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement happened, ahí salió everybody. Everybody was there. Oh, we support, we esto. Everybody has something to say on social media. Now that things have somewhat calmed down, who do you hear talking about it? What has happened? Right. Nothing has happened. Right. We're going back to the same shit we were doing before. Right. So if you ask me if things have changed, no. I believe that the conversation did get started. I am grateful to the fact that a lot of Afro-Latinos that didn't even know or consider themselves Afro-Latino after the movement and everything that has happened, and even after hearing me speak, now feel proud of saying, I am Latino, I am Afro-Latino. You know, they now accept their ancestors, okay? So I am grateful for that. But do I see a big difference? No. Lo mismo pasa en la música. When you look at the charts of artists, artists Latinos, okay? Artists Latinos en los Latin Grammys, los Billboards, en los premios que te dé la gana, whichever one. You can name with one hand how many Afro Latinos are in there, and they don't even look like us. Right. We have Sech, shout out to him. I admire him full. En un momento dado, we can't obviously forget about Teo Calderón. And if you want to go all the way back, we can go all the way back to, El General, who's, that were part of the urban. Canario. They were part of the urban movement. El Canario, salsa, we get those things. But de esta nueva generación, this new generation, is very little of us there. And it's not based off talent. There's a lot of Afro-Latinos that are very talented. But if your complexion and your looks don't match what social media and popularity will accept, you're never going to make it.
But let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of Afro-Latino talent. Come on.
And let's talk about something that bothers me too. When we talk about film, when we talk about novelas, soap operas, when we talk about the commercials, when you talk about all these other things, me jode, me molesta, me incomoda, me hace sentir mal, me avergüenza, me abochorna, me enciende, everything when I see that when they talk with all due respect about Mexicans or whatever, they want to choose this prototype of the same thing that they use in every novela, right? Either you're blonde, blue eyes, or la brunette with certain features, more European features. No, show me what una mexicana de verdad, como se ve una colombiana. How does a Venezuelan look? Show me more diversity. Show me the Dominicans. When you go to the Dominican Republic and you see all of us, we don't look like that movie. Right. Exactly. We don't look like that. Everybody is not cookie cutter pretty. No, because that cuts out a lot of opportunities for real good actors. So you're not picking just people based off of how good of actors they are. They have to fit this pretty, I don't like that because then that's not true diversity. So of course, when I was hit up and they were like, oh, we didn't see, there was a lack of Afro Latinidad on the film. Of course, I felt some type of way because we just finished going through protests about Black Lives Matter, going through protests talking about diversity.
Absolutely.
We just finished telling you guys, hello, we're here. Yes. Los Latinos, estamos aquí. Right. Los Afro-Latinos, we're here.
Absolutely.
Please give us opportunities.
Yes.
Denos un chance. We're talented. We're good. We're educated. Please. Did anybody care? No, because it's still not being done.
You know what's the worst? The worst part about this?
But guess who did take it in consideration? iHeartRadio and my Cultura. That's right, because we're in here. Woo! Making a difference.
But they said, what really got me, coño, was the at least. They're saying, well, at least there's a representation. First of all, 60 years ago, West Side Story came out. They didn't even let Rita Moreno be Maria. She was supposed to be cast. She tried to be the main protagonista, okay? And the rest of them weren't even Latinos, the majority. And it was about how you have other people playing Puerto Ricans, right? In New York, where there's tons of Latinos and LatinX community that are trying to break out in acting, and then they're like so thirsty, like everyone, all the Latinos in the world should go see it during a pandemic because we don't support each other. No. When there's movies about Caucasians and there's movies about anybody, we are the consumers and we go watch it. So why is it just our responsibility to go watch it?
Okay, so entonces let's also make ourselves responsible because yes, we're very good at pointing the finger to everybody that's not supporting us. Pero vamos a hablar de la comunidad latina amongst ourselves. Ooh. Are we being supportive of each other? Are we being supportive of our own films? Are we being supportive of our own radio stations? Are we being supportive of our own brands? Are we being supportive? No, we're consuming as well. And let me not say no, because I don't like to generalize, but we consume from other cultures. We consume from other races. But are we being supportive of ourselves? If we don't support each other, how do we expect other people to respect and support us?
But think about it. A lot of our Latinx community don't. I mean, they say we are the consumers and we're the streamers. But to be honest, like, how many times did your parents bring you to the movies as a kid? Think about it. Coming from those urban areas, how many times did they allow you? And I understand the support thing, but is it our responsibility?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know why? Because maybe our parents weren't educated at that moment back then. But the Latinx community, we know better.
How about give us better jobs
so
that we can be able to give our kids money to go support these things? It's deeper than that. It's the root of it all is that we no hay dinero. For us, we're like the minority of jobs. We're the minority everywhere, and then they want us to spend money and support.
I get the
¿De
part.
dónde? Si tenemos que pagar un bill.
I get the part of finances, que ese es otro tema. Eso es aparte.
Right.
I get the part of finances. Right. I get the part which we definitely need to talk about finances and in the Latino community.
Right.
Because we have a lot of education
Absolutely.
to go through. But I get that part. Pero para apoyar and to be supportive, sometimes it's not even about the money. It's not even about the money. It could be a simple post. It could be a simple word of mouth.
Right.
Word of mouth.
We do have to do
You know what I'm
better,
saying?
yes.
Because if you see Fulanito's a DJ, y Fulanito es a DJ, pero aquel es de Gringolandia, you go automatically go, vete con ese porque ese es bueno, that was good. But you won't tell him to go support your own people,
Right.
que he needs the bread too.
Right.
No, so that's what I'm saying. We are so good at pointing the finger at everybody for not supporting us, but let's also be responsible for ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. Parents, as parents, and I have my children in my ovaries, but as parents, we also have to make ourselves responsible for educating our children about their own culture,
Right.
about their own culture. ¿De dónde tú vienes? De tus raíces, el español, el idioma español. Not for nothing. Shout outs to you if you don't know Spanish and you are Latino, or if you do know Spanish, or whatever the case may be, or if you have to polish it. That's part of our culture.
Right.
The Latinx community, I want to give you guys that advice. Obviously, in this country, if you know more than one language, you're obviously already winning. But it is so important to not lose our culture, even if we're born in the United States. I was born here in Miami, okay? I was born here, and I didn't even get to go to my parents' country, the Dominican Republic, till I was like 18. Pero mi madre siempre me inculcó, usted es dominicana, usted es latina, and whether you like it or not, I know you go to school and you learn English in school, pero en esta casa you speak Spanish. It's important to still maintain our culture, our music, la comida, our everything. We don't want to lose that magic, and that comes from education and our parents. Parents need to do their part too. I just want to find also solutions to the problems. Because I know that there's a lot of problems.
Speaking of supporting, are they embracing this new term Latinx?
I think that a lot of people are embracing the new terminology of Latinx, of course.
Because it's gender neutral? Or do people say, I'm a Latino, I'm a Latina?
I don't know. Some people like the neutral, the Latinx, and just keep it as that. I personally like to say I'm Latina, and that's just what it is. I'm part of the Latino community, and I feel proud of saying that. But whatever works for you, as long as you're proud of where you come from and you don't deny your heritage and your ancestors and your culture, I'm down for it. What do you consider yourself to be?
I just learned about the Latinx community and the whole
terminology.
Term. Term. And I think that this is perfect. I think that perfecting stuff, years later, we're in a, further place. Now, my thing is, I would like to know if our listeners go to Exactly Amara's page right now on Instagram or any platform and let us know. Are you okay with the term Latinx? Or do you still consider yourself a Latino or Latina?
Bueno, I do understand the Latinx terminology too for a lot of those Latinos that are born and raised in the United States, where you kind of, your parents are Latinos, right? But you feel like I'm American. Sometimes it's hard because I remember growing up, I didn't necessarily know what to say. I was born in America. I was born in the United States. I go to school and it's in English, pero my mom don't know no English. Y en la casa, everything's in Spanish, and we hear merengue all day, perico ripiao, like, what am I? So I understand how maybe just giving that terminology of Latinx, it kind of makes you feel more comfortable to say that you don't necessarily have to know Spanish, but you understand that your family may be Latino or whatever. So I think that the term works for a lot of people, whatever makes you happy.
So, real quick and brief, I want to have an iconic moment. There's a lot of photos of you with Celia Cruz.
Yes.
Did she embrace you?
Yes, she did. I had the opportunity of performing with her in 2 occasions or 3 occasions. And that was such an iconic and just such a moment in my career and in my life as a person. Like, I will always be grateful to her. And I wish that she would have been able to be here to see how much she inspired me. And now, thanks to her inspiration, I have been able to inspire other Afro-Latinas and other little girls and other, girls to feel proud of who they are and their color, the texture of their hair. As a matter of fact, talking about that, part of that inspiration was my children's book, Amarita's Way, which, by the way, you guys can purchase it now at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, or just go to Exactly Amara and the information is right there. My children's book, I did it exactly for that. It's available in Spanish, English, and in French. To make you understand at a very young age, you have to embrace the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, be proud of who you are, stay focused and determined. And right now I'm working on the second edition of Amarita's Way as well.
Wow.
Always inspiring the little ones desde bien chiquito a entender. Tú sabes quién tú eres, tus raíces, de dónde tú vienes. Así que that's super important. Todo comienza desde la casa.
I think it's great. I mean, you've done, I just want to give you your flowers right here on Exactly Amara.
Thank you.
You've done such a great job, just being an advocate, being a voice, really, seeing you on Love and Hip Hop and seeing you push the whole Afro-Latino, that we're not just one color. We're not just, this Latinos come in all different flavors, colors. That's incredible. You created awareness. And so
did you. You also inspired a lot of Latinos as well. But, I dream of one day being able to see a soap opera, right? A movie where they have Afro-Latinos in there, and they can have good roles where you're not a drug addict, or you're not a killer, or you're not a prostitute, or you're not a
Come on, writers. Come on, we need writers.
I wish that I could see this. I wish that I could see more magazine covers where they have diversity of the Latino community, and then they show, what we look like, who we are as a community overall. See more Afro-Latinos in covers.
Would you produce a film like that?
I would love to. Why not? If no one's doing it and we're all screaming for it, they hear us, but no one's doing anything about it, I would be willing to do it.
Who better to tell the story than someone that has lived it?
I think it will be great. And you know what? That's another thing too. In order for a film or something like this to actually work, you need to give opportunities to Afro-Latinos to actually produce it, be executive producers, and be behind the project.
Right.
Not just in front of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because you wouldn't understand. But I think that this is just the beginning of many things to change. I believe that the conversation needs to continue happening. I think that we can't let it die out. We can't give up, because si paramos de hablar del tema, la gente se va a olvidar y vamos a seguir sufriendo y nada va a cambiar. So I think we definitely need to continue the conversation and see people that really are in power help make a change.
I don't want to leave this episode without really tapping into this. Now, Lin-Manuel put out an apology on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Apologizing for the colorism.
Yeah, the lack of representation.
Now, was that enough? As an Afro-Latina.
Yeah.
Was that enough? Or do you think they're just going to apologize and do it again?
You know what?
And then apologize again?
That's how I feel. With all due respect, maybe he truly didn't have any, ill intentions behind it. But I'm so sick of people doing stuff and then just apologizing and moving forward from it like nothing happened. Like, you should have known better. Don't you have like a team? Because the movie wasn't done just with you. There's a whole crew and a whole team and a whole bunch of executives behind these films. You should have known better. And if you didn't know, why didn't anybody guide you? What's the point of you paying people to help you get a job done if they're not going to help you get the job done correctly? And among so many Latinos that were on that set, I make them responsible too. Because even if you don't, I know that you're there for your check, and I get it. You're there to get the job done, but you could have said something too. Like, óyeme, it would be kind of cool. We had some morenos in here, because that's things that yo soy muy fresca, and I'm very fresh, and I say it. If you're a producer, óyeme, how come there's no black people here? And you're talking about like if we're Dominicans, what's happening? Como que we don't really look like this in my family.
Right.
Let's talk about it. So I don't know about an apology was enough.
It's almost like he put an African American in there and he was like, that's enough.
But
that's the problem right there, is that they always separate. They always say, oh, we have a black actor No, there is a black Latinos as well.
I don't want to take I don't take no apologies. You know why? Because ¿de qué te sirve the apology if you still didn't give us opportunities?
Right.
¿De qué te sirve the apology if you're still making money? You're still making.
What are you doing?
You're still making bread from our people, from us. Because we're still consuming your product. ¿De qué nos sirve that you came and you apologized after your team messed up? Your team should have known, if we're doing a movie based on the Latino community in New York with Dominicans, why the hell don't we have Afro-Latinos? Why don't we have black people in here? Why don't we? So, and if they do, like I said, they'll have them en el salon doing hair. They'll have them doing nails. They'll have them doing 1,000 things, but never as a main cast. Why not?
And then they had Dasha Polanco on the thing. I wish they gave her a better role.
Una
You know what I'm
dominicana
saying?
bella. Let's give them credit too. Leslie Grace was there too. You know, Dasha, ella es pana,
I love
divina,
her. I
fabulosa.
love Dasha.
This is not discrediting any of the actors that played and did their jobs. This has nothing to do with you.
Right.
This is about production. This is about the directors. This is about the team behind closed doors that should have known that this film was going to be so important to the Latino community that we were waiting, we were anxious, we were excited for this film because it was going to be about us. And when you talked about us, you missed us.
Exactly,
You
Amara.
missed us. And you only put the people that you saw convenient and attractive for the audience that you wanted to cater to. So do I want to take the apology? I personally don't. Now, if you do another movie and you fix what you messed up on this one, perhaps I'll, part two.
Mm-hmm.
Pero right now, because that's exactly what everybody does. No se cagan en nosotros. They don't take us in consideration. They put us wherever and whenever they want. And then they're like, oh, sorry, we'll do it next time. And then they don't. So, I don't know.
Right. Do we have to conform to this? And it's so annoying because there is other movies. Oh, but this is the first representation of New York. And Ken Bootes. Yeah, I like it like that. Did anybody watch that one? Because that one was really good. What John said, that was a really good one. And, you know, they're like, oh, but this is the first time and we have to deal with it because this is what we have.
My thing is that as Latinos, first of all, and let me say this because I feel it in my spirit. If I feel it in my spirit, I have to say it. Oye, lo que te voy a decir. As the Latino community, if we don't say anything and we don't speak up about it, it's going to continue to happen.
Right.
And just because you may not have my skin complexion and you may not be as dark as I am, doesn't mean that I am not part of the Latino community. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't hurt and suffer with my pain as well, okay? Because we're still all minorities at the end of the day. They all see us the same, okay? So, even though you may have felt identified in the movie because someone looked like you specifically, what about the Latino community
what
that
about
includes
your mother, your aunt,
me?
your sister, what about, you're not the only, like, in a Dominican family, it's not, like, my sister, my brother.
Or not just Dominican. Not just Dominican, puertorriqueño, la familia cubana, la familia hondureña, las familias colombianas. I know a lot of Colombians that are light-skinned, pero tienen primas que son morenos también. Like, what about the rest of us? And I'm just so sick of, it just keeps happening. Like, I felt that the Heights should have known better. Like, this film meant so much to us.
And we need to
they
stop
didn't push
with
through.
the shut up generation. That's over.
Eso de
cállate and keep it moving. No. Open your mouth, people. Open your mouth.
Bueno,
I feel like
let me
after
tell you
the pandemic,
something.
this is a new world that we're living in.
I'll tell you this. I feel responsible to a certain extent for the Afro-Latino community because I've been the voice for a long time. A lot of people look up to me for it, and I most definitely am not going to shut my mouth up and not say anything. So therefore, I personally, at this moment, I'm saying the actors were great. They did a great job, whatever, but I'm still hurt behind the fact.
And as a producer, you're going to put out a movie and it doesn't matter. You're going to have critics. That is a part of the industry. You got to have thick skin. You're going to put out a project. You do have to take the credit. Well, we have to be like, oh, porque él es puertorriqueño. Yo soy puertorriqueño. Si él es dominicano, es dominicano.
How about this?
How about we have to do better just by helping each other out?
Correct.
Constructive criticism is a real thing.
And this is not us being damaging or anything in any shape, way, or form. As a matter of fact, I want to know your opinion on Exactly Amara on all our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on YouTube as well. Let us know how you felt about this film,
In the Heights.
In the Heights. Let us know how you feel about this movie.
¿Qué? Tú no quieres decir ni el nombre porque no te pagaron la película. Yo no le voy a decir ni el nombre porque no me pusieron la película.
Do you feel that there's a lack of representation in this film? Were you hurt by it? Are you okay with it? What are your thoughts and feelings? Let us know. But with that being said, guys, you know what? Thank you so much for listening to Exactly Amara. Remember to share and subscribe. Always thank you for showing us love and support. You know that over here, we do what no one else is willing to do. we tell you the truth. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, like I said before, at Amara La Negra ALN, and also at Exactly Amara. And you can find Stevey at
SteveYNEZ.
That's right. Also go follow at My Cultura Podcast for more information and for more programming. This show is super lit. You can't miss our next episode next week porque venimos encendido.
As we go on with these episodes, it just gets hotter and hotter in here.
Okay, and by the way, just in case you didn't know, this is a production of iHeartRadio and My Cultura Podcast. With that being said, we love you guys. See y'all next week.
Nos vemos.
Woo, woo.